Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And this movie came out in 2007, and this movie is directed by David Yates, with the same cast returning once again, reprising their roles. And this is the first Harry Potter film that I saw in a theater. And I do kind of vaguely remember this movie. I remembered parts of it. There are some scenes in it that I remember really enjoying, and I have very mixed feelings on this movie, sadly. There were things that I genuinely really liked. Like the performances were pretty great from the adult actors. The visual effects, they looked really good, especially for the time. And there's some interesting ideas sprinkled throughout this movie. And this movie wasn't incompetently made for the most part, from a technical perspective. There's things to appreciate about it, but all in all, my biggest issue with this movie is just the story. It was just kind of bad, and honestly, the entire film, in terms of its plot, just felt like filler to me. Like 90 minutes of this movie was just filler. Like all of this stuff with the ministry, they just needed to be cut out of the movie. And honestly, if you cut all that out, cut out all the bad characters and this like one character played by Emma Thompson, which not a bad actor, but she just her character is just so annoying, and also her purpose in the story. I maybe you could have done something with that, but unfortunately, it just feels like yeah, we're just doing things because we don't really have much else to explore. And there are a couple ideas that I did like, but they didn't really go very far. And honestly, in terms of stuff that I liked about the movie story wise, and I don't really consider this to be a spoiler, but I really enjoyed the third act. I thought that was fun. And there are some moments that I did like. And when we're not at Hogwarts, that's when the movie works for me. Not that I was ever bored, but unfortunately, I just wasn't really engaged with much in this film. I didn't really care about the characters all that much, and the only new character that I liked was Luna. I thought she was a fun character to watch, and she was memorable. And she was the most likable character in this entire film for me. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I adore the scenes where Harry Potter is teaching people how to use magic, like defense against the dark arts, like showing us what he's learned so far. It is kind of montaged over, and we don't get too much, but if that was a major focus in this film, I think this movie would have been a lot better, because I do feel as though there's a great movie just right there. Like, I just feel as though it's such a missed opportunity, and this movie just goes in directions that I just don't care about. And in terms of how the movie is made, there isn't really much of a style here. I couldn't really tell if this was a movie by David Yates, because it just doesn't really stand out as something that has a distinct style to it. Like the first two Harry Potter movies, they feel like Chris Columbus movies in terms of the tone and how they're presented. And the third movie feels like a movie from Alfonso Cuarón. And that stuff I love. And that's like the best part of these movies, is that not only do they feel like faithful and trying really hard to establish a world, but also they have the director's print on them. They don't feel cynical. Whereas this movie, I'm not saying that it's cynical. I'm just saying that there's no personality in the filmmaking, which is just sad to watch in a way that's unintentional. I didn't really care for the dream sequences. I thought that they were pointless, and they just come back to them again and again. And also, in terms of what this movie was offering me, it just didn't really take away much. And by the end of the movie, I was like, okay, I actually don't really like this movie. This might be the first movie that I actually kind of somewhat hate, but once we get to the third act, I was like, okay, this is better for sure. Something happened that I actually am invested in somewhat, but I just don't really feel as though the buildup is there for a lot of things that happened. And I'm like, okay, it kind of happens, and on a very surface level, it's kind of fun, but once I start to dig deeper, it's like, yeah, it doesn't really have much to offer. And a couple nitpicky things about this movie is that I didn't really care for the redesigns for the Dementors. I thought that would just made them look lame. And I thought the designs for them in Prisoner of Azkaban was much better, but unfortunately they just look kind of bad in my opinion. Just design-wise, not CG-wise. And there were some choppy editing choices in this movie, and I genuinely could not tell what was going on for a little bit. And when the movie was over, the first thing that came to my head was just the ministry subplot to stuff that I just wished was not in the movie at all. And after thinking about it, it kind of made the movie look like it was just made to make money. In ways, it just kind of felt like a scam because it didn't really progress the story all too much. The only things that progressed the story was just 40 minutes of the movie, and the rest of it was just filler nonsense. I did like some of the music in this movie, although most of it just didn't really leave much of an impression on me. And the composer this time is Nicholas Hooper, which I'm not really familiar with. So in the end, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was very disappointing, and I just wish that it was better. There were plenty of missed opportunities in this movie, plenty of directions that it could have gone, but unfortunately, nothing was just the replacement for these directions where it could have gone. Like Draco Malfoy, like I was really hoping to see something go on with his character. And although I have seen these movies before and I kind of knew where things were going, I just remember in the second movie that he was kind of an important character. And one thing that he was kind of being built up was to be like the rival to Harry Potter, like trying to prove that he's better, but he's always just second best. And now that's just mostly abandoned, and he's just the bully, and they don't really give him much outside of that, if anything at all. And it's just kind of a useless character, honestly. And there's so many things where they had a good thing going in the previous movies, and then they just replace it with this ministry stuff that I wish was not a part of the movie. And now it just feels like, okay, we have this, but that's not the core of what made this series great. It doesn't focus on its strengths, and one could argue they're just taking risks and going in a different direction. Or you could say, and I don't know if this is a fact or not, it's just being accurate to the books. Okay, that's fair. But if you don't make it interesting, then it just feels like a waste. And this is a big example of that for me personally. Will I ever watch this movie again? If I'm watching all the Harry Potter movies, I'll probably watch this one as well, but it's not going to be a pleasant experience for me overall, and it just doesn't focus on its strengths in terms of the story elements, and it just left me entirely unsatisfied for the most part. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix a 5 out of 10. It could go down to a 4 if I were to see it again, but I don't really want to see it again. So I'm kind of stuck giving it a 4 or a 5, but I think I'm just going to give it a 5 for now and see how it sits in my memory. It's not aging well, and I watched this maybe a couple hours ago, and it's not doing too well in my memory. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for To Catch a Thief. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.